Now let's move on to present value. So we've already covered future value, which tells us how much a lump sum is going to be worth at some point in the future. Now with present value, we want to take a future cash flow and figure out what it's worth to us today. So let's look at this question. What is the present value of $100 that's due in 3 years if our interest rate is 4%? So we're solving for present value. The future value is $100, our N is 3, and our interest rate is 4. So if we're going to find the present value, that's called discounting, whereas when we were finding future value, that's called compounding. So if we wanted to draw this on our timeline like we did before, we're showing that $100 lump sum in 3 years, and we want to know what that's worth today at time 0. So if we wanted to use the formula for that, present value is going to be equal to future value divided by 1 plus the interest rate raised to the nth power. So that means $100 divided by 1.04 raised to the 3rd power is our present value, which is $88.90. So that $100 that we're going to get in 3 years is worth only $88.90 to us today. So if we put it in the calculator, as I was saying before, N is equal to 3, the interest rate is equal to 4, payment is equal to 0 because there are no payments over the 3 years, the future value is 100, and then when we compute present value, we get a negative $88.90 because if we wanted to invest a certain lump sum so that it would grow to $100, that investment would be an outflow, and what we get in 3 years would be an inflow. Let's go on to solving for the interest rate and the number of periods. So let's take a look at this example on interest rate. What annual interest rate would cause $100 to grow to $119 in 3 years? So that means that our N is 3, our present value is $100, and our future value is $119.10. And so what we would do is just use our future value equation, but instead of solving for future value, we're going to solve for the interest rate. In the calculator, we don't really care about the equation. So as I said, N is 3. The present value in the calculator, we have to be careful again with our signs. So it's the investment of $100, so that's a negative 100, still no payments, and the future value is a positive $119.10. So when we compute the interest rate, we get 6. Now I suggest you try to follow along with your own financial calculator and make sure that you're getting these values. So now let's solve for N. This question, we could do a couple of ways actually. If sales grow at 10% per year, how long before sales double? So now 10% is being given to us as a growth rate, but growth rates are really the same as interest rates. So we're solving for N, the interest rate is 10, but we don't have any numbers for present value and future value. What do? We've got to make up some. So we just take one number for present value and then take 2 times that for future value. So we can make it as simple as present value is equal to negative 1 and future value is equal to positive 2. And so that's exactly what you see here. We are solving for N, interest rate is 10, present value is negative 1. I want to know how long until it doubles, so future value is positive 2 and there still are no payments. When I compute N, I get 7.3.